WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have Glencadam Single Cask, yay, Whiskybase number 157071. So this interesting package, I have to actually take it like a coffin and open it up, and then I get this interesting nice bottle here, good color I must admit. Now this is a generic, even though it looks very, very high class, it's a generic packaging. The bottle itself, and only this label here is the only thing that's just for this bottle. Everything else, the back label and the back label, this is just generic. It's the same marketing blah blah on every single one of these. Alright, so what do I have here? I have a vintage, so it's distilled in the year 2006, so to be exact on February, in February the 16th of 2006 is when it was distilled. It was bottled in January 2020. Why they don't put the date on there for the bottling, I have no idea. Is it a bottle? Oh, I have a bottle code. Wait a second, I can actually read this, I guess. It was bottled on, and it says here, the 11th of February 2020. So they lied. So on the bottle, it says here, bottling date January 2020. On the timestamp, it actually says here 11:02:20 at 8:16 in the morning. Whoops, someone made a mistake. Oh no. I guess it was supposed to be bottled in January, but it wasn't. So this still remains basically a 13-year-old. It almost made it to 14. It was only missing now 6 days instead of 15 days. It's a 13-year-old single malt. Cask number 336100, 815 bottles. I have bottle number 777, which I kind of like. And yeah, it was in a port pipe. Yay! And now listen, what is the ABV? 61.6%. Bam! 61.6% after 13 years. They did not put that in the bottle at 63.5%. They put that in the bottle at 68.5, or even maybe, I think it's more of 72%. And that's okay. There's no law whatsoever about maximum cask strength in Scotland. We have it in bourbon, 62.5%, but in Scotland they don't. So they can only distill it up to a certain amount, 90-something percent, 94.8, 94.6. I have to read that and find out again. But the actual cask strength that they can enter, no regulations whatsoever. Is there a tradition of putting in the barrel at 63.5%? Yes, because it's higher than bourbon. We took a little bit more out of the wood that wasn't taken from the bourbon beforehand. But we have here with a port pipe. A port is actually around 22%, so we would not have to put it into the cask at such a high rate to dig more out of it, unless, of course, the port pipe had been used before. So we maybe put it in the first time at 50, let's say we go for 60-some%, and the second time we go for 65, and the third time we go for 70%. We move up because each and every time we use that barrel again, we actually often move up, at least in Scotland, higher and higher. So question of the day is, do you know of any Scotch whiskies above 60% ABV that you said yummy, yummy? There's been very, very few. Actually, I avoid normally, this time I didn't, but normally I avoid bottles of single malt Scotch over 60% because, according to my experience, they've never been really wow. And so, yeah, just one of my things at the moment. I've had great Irish whiskey over 60%, especially the new stuff from Great Northern Distillery. Mwah. I've had bourbons, of course, mwah, mwah, mwah. But Scotch, not really, not really. All right, so I hope I remember to do this. This is my comparison bottle. This is a Glencadam. This is the Glencadam 17-year-old. This is the Glencadam 17-year-old triple cask port wood finish. So what happened is Glencadam found ex-bourbon matured whiskey, and that had been matured for 17 years, and they put it into 3 port casks. Triple cask port wood. 3. When I remember doing the whiskey review, I was like, oh, I kind of feel a little bit tricked because I thought it was 3 different types of wood, no ex-bourbon port, just 3 of the port casks. So, but this is 46%, but it is 119 euros. This is 61.6. This is 129 euros. Same distillery, at least the same type of cask we used at the end, almost the same price, so I decided to go for it. Now, if I look at the color here, here I have a full maturation of 13 years in a port pipe, and here I have a finish in a port pipe. I don't see much difference, to be honest. Now, the one thing that they do always say on the bottle and the label is, what was it say here? Natural color. All right, so no caramel coloring has been added to this single malt so that the naturalness of the whiskey from the cask can be enjoyed in full. All right, and the limited edition single cask whiskeys have been bottled cask strength to retain the whiskey's unique and natural characteristics and subtlety of taste, and by not chill filtering this whiskey, it ensures that the aromatic components in the whiskey are preserved to enhance presence and flavor. Yay. All right, so Glencadam has operated 2 pot stills since the beginning. An unusual feature about the stills is that their line arm or line pipes run upwards at an angle of 15 degrees rather than downwards. The belief is that this helps to produce, I like how they say the belief, to produce a particular delicate and mellow spirit, which after maturation yields sweet and fruity notes in the final product. I really like Glencadam. Now, I'm not sure if I like this, but I really like Glencadam. All right, so I've told you basically all I can tell you about this. Oh, one more thing. A port pipe. A port pipe is this big barrel that was actually used. It's a little bit more stout, pushed together, and has a little bit wider than a normal sherry butt. A port pipe also has about 500 liters, and these are actually used to mature tawny port. Tawny port is matured in wood. Ruby port usually isn't. It's matured in these big 1,000-liter containers that we can't use for whiskey, a maximum of 700 liters. And then it's actually put into stainless steel so that it retains its red ruby flavor and the red ruby color. Now, for the last 2 years, at least in my experience over in Germany, everyone started using ruby casks, ruby port casks. And according to all my research, basically all of these ruby port casks are just seasoned casks. They take ruby port, put them in a barrel, sell the barrels, and maybe even use the that whiskey later on, that port later on, and sell it. They don't have to make vinegar out of it. They could actually redistill that port wine again and then make it into a brandy. Ah, interesting. So the product wouldn't be knocked on, and they could actually then use that brandy again to fortify the next season of port. Interesting process. And that's basically what they're doing time and time again. And so all these new port, ruby port finishes that you're having, Campbelltown, Glen Scotia, and a couple other places, just seasoned casks, just like we've had from sherry now for the last 20-some years. Okay, good. Enough of ruining all of our illusions of what the mystery and the magic of whiskey is and can be. All right, in the nose, I get a lot of alcohol, 61.6%, but I do get cherries on ice cream with a little bit of a graham cracker crust. Ooh, don't get in there too close. It's really strong. But nice, I like. Got a great nose. This over here, the triple cask, not triple wood, triple cask port wood. It's got more of a woody moment. There's more of a tannin in there, and it has a little bit more of a vanilla pudding moment. This was vanilla ice cream. You know what ice cream tastes like, and this is more vanilla pudding. And you know it's a little bit more that yellow, that pudding moment. All right, both of those on the nose are very good. These would be on the nose a B whiskey. All right, so 61.6%. I have a little respect. I'm going to just nip it and see what happens. It's hot. And the interesting thing, it stays hot. if I were to do this, so it comes and it goes, and it just stays hot the whole entire time. Even now, it's still just hot. It might be my problem that I'm a wuss, but 61.6% with single malt Scotch is often just the case that I just don't appreciate it. So what do we do? What's the best friend if something's too hot? I have my little water dispenser here. I'm going to take it down to about 50% and see what happens. On the nose, I lose a little bit of my sweet cherries and ice cream. I get a little bit more of a raspberry type of tea. It's not bad, but it's diluted. You notice it. All right, cheers. Hot. And it stays hot. I do have a lot of red berries. I have a little bit of a red cranberry. I have a nice little bit of a raspberry. They say plum, by the way, which I really don't. I don't know. I'm thinking more of a different. I have the green plums, the yellow plums, the purple plums, but I guess it might be more of a red plum. All right, so it says light and plummy on the nose and summer fruit sweetness with underlying biscuit malt. I guess the biscuit would be what I had with the graham cracker. Raspberries, blackberries, red cherries, a brush with pine trees and pepper. I don't get any pine tree, I'm sorry. All right, and the finish, I'm always worried when they write pepper on the label, which means it's going to be hot. All right, fruity compote. With tingling soft spices. Yeah, tingling. It's still the alcohol is there the whole time, tingling. All right. To be very honest, this is more of a sea whiskey. This is not something I'm going to write home about. It's not something I'm going to go buy again. Now, I would be very disappointed if I had bought this bottle for myself. I like Glencadam. I love port. I love a good port wine, full maturation. So I would have went, 129 euros, 10 euros per year, 13 years old. Okay, maybe. If it's a wonderful whiskey, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to treat myself to it, yay. And I take the bottle, open up, pour the glass in it, and I think, and then I dilute it, and I think, And I dilute it a little bit more, and I think, yeah, I'm not gonna dump it out, but it's not something I'm gonna savor and enjoy and just go and look forward to. I did a bottle share. It's all gone. People in Germany will be getting their 5 and 10 CL samples and so on. But I would have been really, really disappointed if I had bought this as a personal present to myself, because it just does not fulfill my expectations. One of the best port matured whiskeys I've ever had was from Hotel Essenhof, and it was their Irish whiskey. I think it was 16 years in a port pipe. That was such a great whiskey. I'm gonna have to go see if I can find another bottle of that. Very, very single cask, wonderful, beautiful. Now over here, our 46% triple cask Portwood, just as a comparison. What I get here is interesting enough, is I get a tiny little bit, it must have been a little bit of European oak. I get some chocolate in here. This is way overpriced, but it's got an interesting taste. It grows on me. 46% is exactly right here. And the port cherry with the oak chocolate goodness is better made than this. I would give this today, I know I have a review, I don't remember what I gave it. I'd give this more of a C+, this is a solid C. Value for money, it's a D-. I would be so angry if I had paid only for myself 130 euros for this bottle. It's just not worth the money. All right, so my personal opinion. My question of the day I asked already was, what whiskeys over 60% in Scotland can you recommend? Which single malt whiskeys over 60% ABV can you recommend? I hardly know any. There was one for the Whiskey Circle here from Germany, at Glenadachi, I think, what it was, 7 or 11 years old, 7 or 11, and it was okay. It was okay. But otherwise, I kind of pass usually, and I should have done that here as well. Oh well, live and learn. WhiskyJason, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for sharing this video and inviting other people to watch my channel. Yeah, watch me taste things you probably never ever see. Yay, great concept. All the best. Bye-bye.